Welcome back to the Fractional CMO Show. It's me, Casey Stanton, and I'm back for season 2 of the Fractional CMO Show. It's been a long time since I released an episode. Back in October 2023 was the last episode, and there's been a lot going on since then, and I want to get you caught up and really set the tone for the podcast moving forward. So I want to share what I've been up to and also why I think now is really the best time to be a fractional CMO. Marketers of the world, why do we work hard to solve small problems? Why do we reinvent ourselves and our clients over and over? And why are we giving away marketing strategy for free? With advancements in AI, we're all seeing the marketing department shrink from the bottom up. And companies need you to serve them as their fractional chief marketing officer. It's time to solve bigger problems and bring home a bigger paycheck. It's time to create the lifestyle we deserve and to make a greater impact. This is the Fractional CMO Show, and I'm Casey Stanton. Join me as we explore this growing industry and learn to solve bigger problems as marketing leaders. The Fractional CMO Show is sponsored by CMOx, the #1 company to teach you how to attract, convert, and serve high-paying fractional CMO clients on your terms. So I've got a ton of surprises to share with you this season. But first, let me catch you up on what I've been up to. All right, so the first thing that's really happened since the last podcast episode is I bought a house. My wife and I bought a house in Philadelphia. We're in like the Chestnut Hill area. And we bought an old house, 99 years old when we bought it. And it is now 100 years old this year. And with that has come all the things that happen when you buy a 100-year-old house. I've had to learn about things like steam heat and high velocity air conditioning and cast iron pipes. This is an amazing house. We love it. It's a perfect place for our kids. But it's just been a lot of work to kind of get up to a place of, general comfort, knowing where things are, kind of laying out the rooms, choosing the right rugs. I can't begin to tell you how many different rugs my wife has purchased to find the right rugs. And I agree with her decisions. For any parents here, we have washable rugs in our dining room and in our living room and in our kids' rooms. That has been a huge savior for us. We have a lot of ruggable rugs. That's been a big deal. With the house, we've planned the yard. We've got some amazing trees here because the house is so old. So are some of the trees. I've got a copper beech tree that I think is one of the biggest in the state. And we have other cool trees around our property that I've got to learn all about. And with it, though, we have like a backyard that's just kind of like open for our ideas. We built a fence in the backyard. My wife designed it with the help of ChatGPT and a engineer that she hired on Upwork. And she came up with the whole design. And I worked with her and our neighbor, and we built the fence out over the course of the summer. It was a big learning experience. While I was excavating the line between our house and our neighbors, I found Belgian block. How cool. That we think probably came on ships from Belgium back in the 1700s, 1800s. Because you have to remember that where I live in Philadelphia, it's like, this is the place, right? Like that George Washington marched his army towards Philadelphia for the battles. Ultimately, they culminated at Cliveden, not too far from us. And we almost lost to the Brits as a result of that skirmish. That's when Washington's army retreated, went back to Valley Forge. So it's just kind of an interesting place to live. And we find that history here. So I find that to be very fun. We also have a tree in the backyard that's just the wrong type of tree. And it's old. It's maybe like 20, 25 years old. It's a nice maple. It's a Norway maple, but it just can't stay there because it's going to be too big. It's too close to the foundation. And it's an invasive tree. So, we're thinking through all of that stuff. I'm really excited to have figs in my yard. So my son and I went in a big search to find the right fig trees for our property. And we found some really great ones, a Smith, a Long Doot, and a Chicago Hardy. And we have those finally buried, planted outside. We've got our fruit bushes there, blackberries and raspberries. So we're kind of getting everything set up, right? We want to have like a long-term approach, and we've had to spend a lot of time thinking through all that. We wanted to get a great tree in the backyard to take place of this maple that we'll ultimately cut down probably in the next couple of years. And we found a weeping katsura. And if you know the Katsura, they're just amazing. In the fall, the leaves smell, some people say like vanilla, other people say cinnamon. They're just a delightful smelling tree. So we wanted to, kind of figure that out. And it's just been a lot around the house. On top of all of that, I've got 2 wonderful kids. My son, August, is 4, and my daughter, Margareta, she's 2. And it's just been awesome to watch them grow. Margareta, we call her Etta. She's now at the point in life where she gets to play with her brother. And, it's just like a different dynamic. They're very different children, but, also very similar and very sweet with one another when they are. And then other times they're fighting over popsicles or who gets to sit next to mama or whatever. So it's been a great kind of acclimation around that. It's just been really wonderful. Other things have been happening in the last, since we kind of chatted a year and a half. We went on a couple trips. So one trip that we went on was the eclipse. What a incredible trip to go on. Ran up to Vermont to go see the eclipse. We saw it in totality. We were actually in the Finger Lakes and we had cloudy days. So we ditched our Airbnb and ran up to Newport, Vermont, and watched the eclipse there. And it was, I would say, one of the most memorable experiences in nature in my life. So cool to do it. And the kids loved it. We had a great time. Later in 2024, I went out to Albania on a solo trip where I got to study under the expertise of an incredible documentary photographer, Jerome Cessny. And it was nuts. I got to go with him in a small group, and we went up to a town in northeastern Albania, and we shot the town. And I was kind of like the only guy there. And it's just a very interesting thing to do, to go to a pretty secluded town with a camera and just make friends and go places and, learn about the community and the culture and the war that happened there and everything else. So that was really wonderful for me. Also, professionally, co-founded CTOx. So that's like my business, CMOx, for Chief Marketing Officers. But we now have a sister company for Chief Technology Officers. And I've got great partners over there, people that I've known for years and people I really respect. And they're running it and doing an awesome job. 2024 was the year we started. So we signed papers effectively January 1st of 2024. We launched to the public on April 1st. Already now, 1 year later, really 9 months after opening, it is a fully solid business doing great work, helping really smart CTOs win high quality, high paying fractional CTO gigs. I couldn't ask for a better team. I love the CTOs over there. They're so different than the CMOs, but so similar in so many ways. It's just been a gift to have that community there and kind of have that business grow outside of the CMOx stuff. And I get to watch and see all that's happening. I'd say in some ways, I'm learning at twice the speed, because we're doing all the stuff that we're doing at CMOx, but then we're also doing all other stuff at CTOx, solving the same problems, attracting, converting, and serving high-paying clients on your terms. That's the core premise, but how we do it at CMOx is different than how we do it at CTOx. And they're trying new tools, new cadences of calls, and it feels like a laboratory. It feels like we have, 2 laboratories, and in the middle we have our little lunchroom where we get to hang out and chat, and we get to test things out and see what's working and take the winning thing that we did and pass it from one to the other. And that's just been awesome. I know for the CTOx members and then also for the CMOx members. That's been great. We've also been doing fun things like mixers between the CTOs and the CMOs so they get to know each other. Because as you can imagine, if a CTO gets into a business, a fractional CTO, a CTOx, gets into a business and they identify that there needs to be marketing support, they're going to probably want to bring in a CMOx because they can trust the CMOx's process-driven approach. So that's just been really fun to have that relationship. And, I think we can all say the future is technical. We're moving to a more technical future. So CTOs are in a strong position, and companies more than ever need a CTO. So I think it's a great business, great partners, great team. It's awesome. I also wrote a book. You might have heard of it. Here it is. Find Your CMO: How to Source, Hire, Compensate, Evaluate, and Lead Your Chief Marketing Officer. In this book, I wrote it as kind of the guide on how to hire a CMO, because people don't know how to hire a CMO. I talked to some HR folks and they're like, honestly, we're lucky we found you. People who had hired me in the past. So we're lucky we found you because we didn't know what we were looking for when we were hiring. It's what do you mean you didn't know? What does a CMO do? What disciplines do they have? How do they integrate with sales? Like, how do they integrate with product? What should they be doing in the first 30 days with a business? Like when you hire a CMO, should we hire a full-time CMO or a fractional CMO? Like these are the questions that they had, and there was no answer for them. So I decided just to write the book on it. And it took me a while, like 16 months. I mean, kind of since the last episode, I really was just putting my head down, writing this book. And it came out to be 243 pages. And it's the kind of book that I could write today faster, but it took me a while because of AI. That's the answer. Because of AI. Because what's happening with AI? Not like because I used AI to write the book. I didn't. I'll be forthcoming. I used AI when I was stuck opening a chapter. That's one of the hardest things for me is like, how do you open up a chapter in a book? You can't like always start a chapter the same way. Like there was once this company who, right? At some point that gets kind of boring. So I throw that back to Claude and asked it to rewrite my first paragraph of the chapter just to kind of get me started. But I didn't write the book with AI. The delay in getting the book out, I thought I could get it out faster, was what I realized was I didn't really understand the impact AI was going to make in the marketing department. And I just like needed to spend time with it. I needed to like sit on this problem. And as you can kind of reflect, 2023, 2024, AI was like coming on board. But what happened with AI? It was like Jasper. Do you remember Jasper? Do you remember how Jasper was the hottest thing in marketing for a while? I remember years ago, I was kind of being courted by a company that had writers like available. So it's kind of like Upwork or Fiverr or whatever, like a talent pool of people. But all they did was writing. And some of these writers had 100,000 completed jobs. These people were just machines. And I think a lot of them hand wrote, but maybe some of them used AI, whatever. You know, businesses like that, we saw start tanking, like losing ground because we saw the Jaspers, ChatGPT, later Claude, and then all the new models that have come out do writing activity that was as good or better and certainly cheaper and faster than you were getting otherwise. And like I saw that stuff, but that's not the AI that I'm concerned about, you know? If I was like a content writer and I just like wrote articles for people for $100 an article, yeah, I'd be sweating AI. But as a CMO and as someone who's like leading CMOs, I really wanted to reflect on what was it going to be about being a CMO with this AI thing coming online? Like what's that? And I'm excited to share, like, I think I know. I certainly know what I know now. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I have some predictions and I'm excited to kind of share my predictions and share what I'm seeing about AI's implication in the marketing department. So let me just like be a little bit more specific. I see the marketing department shrink and I see output having to grow dramatically, exponentially. That's tough, right? How do we have less people but get more done? I mean, AI, obviously, like there's something there, but like what is it? And we'll talk about this, but like writing tasks, I think writing tasks are being handed over to AI for initial writing. Final review, copy chiefing, all that stuff can still be done by a human, sure. But the idea of like getting something out and done, like a draft complete kind of immediately in 10 minutes that otherwise would have taken someone a day or two, right? We're seeing that stuff absolutely is like just part of the marketing department today. But what's going to happen in the future? Like what's the next level? And I think as I think about all that stuff, you know, I'm also kind of like questioning, am I really betting on this CMO thing? Is this really the route to go? Like, should I, you know, it's a professional question for me. I'm reflecting like, okay, I'm like reasonably technical. You know, I know my way around a GitHub repo and I can like do some basic stuff on, you know, the terminal and compile programs or whatever. Like I'm not very technical, but I can follow README files and, you know, see that stuff. Like, is there just something else I should be doing? Should I be building an AI tool? Should I be amalgamating all of these different marketing processes? Like, should I get Dan Kennedy's approach to sales letters and load that into a custom GPT? And then also like, what about Gary Bensavanga's approach to writing bullets? Or, you know, Paris Lampropoulos' approach to writing advertorials? Like, can I take all of these different things and like wrap them into a GPT? Yeah. But is that actually solving a problem that I have? No. And I've had so many people that come to me like, hey, Casey, I know that you're working with all these CMOs. I've got this really cool new custom GPT. Do you want to see it? And the answer is like, no, I don't. Because it won't solve a problem for people. Right? So like, that's not the route. That's not where I want to go. I don't want to go to the product development side. I'm sure that there are like new, innovative, AI-driven products that are coming out, but I'm not concerned about that. I'm excited about that. Like I'm thrilled. It's like when your favorite artist drops a midnight album. You didn't even know it was coming. And you just like get this gift of someone's like effort, their creativity, and you just get it and you get to enjoy it on your own terms. That's how I feel with AI tools. I'm just like thrilled when they're given to me, but I don't feel like I need to go pioneer one because that's not my role in marketing. My role in marketing is to be a CMO, which means to leverage those tools and talent to get whatever is important completed for my clients or for my own business. So as I've like reflected on what AI means for marketing, I kind of fell in love again with the CMO concept. I was like ready to kind of like divorce it. It's like a strong conviction, loosely held. I love the CMO stuff, but maybe there's something else I should be doing. Like, let me see if I can convince myself that there's another route to go. Because we are in, the most important reinvention of, maybe our lifetime, especially if all these things out about like artificial general intelligence are true. Like if we're really on the cusp of it or it's already created or whatever, like, this is big stuff is happening. What does it mean in marketing? And is being a CMO a good role to have? Is it the right place to be? Right? Being a CTO kind of makes more sense with AI, but like, what about the CMO? Because I've thought about that, man, and I've thought about it. I've talked to a lot of friends, a lot of experts in the industry. I've played with a lot of tools. I have a computer that I use just to like download these tools on and play with them and like research and like just see what I can learn from it, like a little playpen. And what I've realized, bar none, is that the role of the CMO is a requirement into the future. Like, mark my words, the CMO is going to continue to be the most important role in marketing. That's the whole statement. That's the premise of this podcast. That's the mission that I'm on. The CMO must exist. It's not like it's nice to have. Like, it's nice to have a graphic designer. Yeah, but like I can prompt graphic design and I can use an offshore platform like Design Pickle and generate all the stuff I want from like Filipino designers who work while I sleep for $500 a month. I don't need a designer. I don't need a media buyer. I don't need a funnel builder. I don't need a copywriter. I need a CMO. I need a leader. I need a strategist who's building and leading the marketing department to do the things that are required to get the outcomes that the business needs. It's the CMO. It's like we're going to see that marketing department shrink. And it doesn't shrink from the top down. It shrinks from the bottom up. We lose our infantrymen. We lose the people who were writing every day. And maybe you've worked with these people in the past. Like they're just like writers. They read a lot and they write a lot. That's just who they are. Maybe they get paid by the word, 11 cents a word, 12 cents a word. Like that's the business that they're in. Those people sucks, but like they're losing their jobs unless they're the best in the business. But even then, like they're probably doubling, tripling, quadrupling output for the same price. And they're just augmenting their work with AI. Or they're lying and saying they're not using AI, but they are. And they're just trying to like win as much work as possible because they know a layoff is inevitable. So the bottom is shrinking, which just means the top, even more important. We have less humans that are doing labor. So the labor that is done through human effort and through AI has to be directed by someone who gets it, who gets the big picture, who gets the strategy, and then who can be the leader. And leadership is not going to be something that we're going to ever give up to AI, right? Like a person is the leader. Maybe we can think of some weird examples of people like trusting some, Wizard of Oz kind of cloud in the sky thing. Like maybe that'll happen, but I don't know. I think people want people. I think that's going to exist forever. Human to human contact, supporting one another, helping them through things like negative thought patterns or limiting beliefs or celebrating them when they did something great. Like this dynamic that we're creating as the leaders, as the CMO, is going to persist forever. I just don't see a time when it's gone. I do see a time as we get and we approach this thing like a 1P, 1B, a one person, $1 billion company. I believe that's coming. One person who just does it all. Product, marketing, sales, customer service, like all that stuff can be done by one person and AI agents. For sure, that's coming. But so many companies need a CMO. They need a chief marketing officer. I think back to when I worked with a client in the dental space. And when I was kind of pitching him this idea of the fractional CMO, because he had never heard of it, he goes, "Oh, I get it. You're the one throat for me to choke for all marketing." Yes. The only difference to what he said a few years ago and today is the one throat to choke for all marketing, including marketing done by AI agents. Right? So like as I think, I've got young kids. We've got this young family. My kids need me to have income, right? To be successful, so that we can keep a quality of life up. And if I'm betting on something, what am I betting on? I'm betting on being a leader. I'm betting on being a marketing strategist. I'm betting on knowing what problem to solve and then leveraging whatever tools I can to solve it. Sometimes the tools that I use to solve it are, I phone a friend. I had a great conversation with a buddy yesterday, and he had a question. I just called him. I was like, here's the answer. I've got a question for you. And he gave me the answer. AI couldn't have given me the answer that he gave me. Not today. AI doesn't have what he has, his experience, right? So it's useful. I was able to solve a problem through a relationship. AI doesn't have that. If you want to be successful, if you don't want to constantly reinvent yourself, today you're a full-time employee. Tomorrow you're a marketing consultant. The next day you're a funnel builder. The next day you're setting up Google ads for a nonprofit that can barely afford to pay you. The next day you're getting equity into a company that has no intentions to ever go public or have a liquidity event. So your equity is worth $0. And instead of you getting paid nothing, you get paid in hopes and dreams. And you just later get frustrated when you realize they didn't pan out, right? You can live in that space, or you can say, I'm just going to rise to the top, right? You're like Macho Man Randy Savage. You're the cream of the crop. You're going to rise to the top, and you're going to be the leader of the marketing department. And now you just got to go find the right companies to work with. Or maybe you already are serving those companies. People have asked me, Casey, how long should a contract be for a fractional CMO? And my answer is it probably shouldn't end. What you're doing as a fractional CMO is that you're solving bigger problems. You're delegating everything except leadership, and then you practice predicting the future. Those are your three things. Solve bigger problems, delegate everything except leadership, and then practice predicting the future. When you do these three things, you are invaluable. When you build a website, do a rebrand, and overhaul their socials, your job's done in 90 days, 60 days? Your job's just done. And then you have to go resell yourself into the next company, the same kind of package deal, and figure out some weird pricing for it and then execute it. And it's always hard, lemon hard instead of easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? I want you to have an easy approach to things because the ease and simplicity of it means that you're going to get better and better. So being the fractional CMO means that you're the marketing strategist and leader, and you're there forever. You're just there forever. The client sees you as becoming the person that builds and leads the marketing strategy and team. That's where they see you. So maybe you sell them in for a 30-day commitment to get started with the full intention of backing them into a renewing contract that renews for 6 months at a time or 12 months at a time, or a contract where you're locked in for 2 years. That's the approach here. I've seen some bastardization of the term fractional CMO. And I just want to nip this in the bud early on because I think it's so critical that you get this right. A fractional CMO is paid for their intellect, their ability to generate strategy, though they lean on a bunch of other people for strategy. But above all, they lead the team to get the thing done. That's it. That's what you're paid for as the CMO, fractional or full-time. The bastardization happens when people start performing services inside of that container. I'm the fractional CMO and I will write all your emails. No, that's a content writer. And it's a content writer they pay $30 an hour to. Why am I paying the CMO to do a $30 an hour task? Or they say, we'll do it all. We're a marketing agency that will do it all. We do fractional marketing agency work. No, absolutely not. Do not sell that. I'll record another episode about this in more detail, but here's the basic idea. If you have an agency, awesome. I think agencies are a great way to make money. Personally, I'm not in the business to want an agency. I don't want to build an agency, but that's just a personal thing. If you have an agency and you love it, great. It's a great business model. There's nothing wrong with the business model. What's wrong with the approach is when you sell fractional CMO services inside of the agency, you create a culture where you bring your agency to do work and you're creating billable hours and you're kind of feeding yourself and getting paid to feed yourself. It's a weird cycle. So here's all you do. You're a fractional CMO, new LLC. Because your profit margins as a fractional CMO ought to be 95, 98%, right? You should have almost 100% profit margins when you sell fractional CMO services. Then, if you identify that work has to get done, you figure out where it gets done. Who does it? Does AI do it? Do you bring in a marketing technician for the client 20 hours a week where they pay that person, they employ that person? Maybe it's 40 hours a week. Maybe it's a full-time employee. Right? You're building their marketing department. Or maybe it's kind of like an in and out kind of job. I need a mercenary. I need an agency to do it. Fine. So go get a quote from your agency and then go get a quote from another agency or two, and then bring that up to another decision maker like the CEO or COO and say, hey, this is what we got to get done. This is the agency. Obviously, it's my agency. I know these people. I think they'll do a great job. But I also wanted to give you a couple other agencies to review. And then they choose the agency that they want to go with. If they choose yours, great. You make a couple extra bucks. You get probably a better work product. Everyone's happy. But you're not like doing agency work under the title of fractional, like chief, what do people call it? Fractional marketing officer, or like fractional marketing agency, or fractional marketing. I don't even get what that means. They like have this package that's like fractional CMO and labor. And then the fractional CMO gets kind of what's left after the labor is spent. And your incentive structure is all weird because you want to like drive down the cost of labor so that you keep higher profits. So they put more in your pocket. None of that stuff. Don't do that. Be the CMO. Get paid to be the CMO. Get paid handsomely to be the CMO. I don't want you to like have to fight over an extra $100, extra $1,000 a month in like arbitrage for agency work. No. Just like increase your prices as you get new clients. That's a much easier approach. So I think you can squarely sit in the role of fractional chief marketing officer and work 30 hours a week and make $500,000 a year. That's not only something I think is possible, it's something I see folks do inside the CMOx Accelerator. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to build pipeline, you have to nurture the pipeline, you have to serve the people, you have to get word of mouth, you have to like build your confidence to like ask for higher rates and actually be able to demand them. You have to work in a niche that like can afford your rates and can appreciate the work that you're doing and you're actually making an impact. Like there's a bunch of nuance to it. So much of it is just confidence. A lot of people don't have the confidence to sell what they're worth, and then they take on lower leverage tasks to kind of justify their time. That's a whole nother episode we can talk about later. But as a fractional CMO, you could work 30 hours a week. You can have a handful of clients, 3 to 5 clients, and make $500,000 a year. Absolutely, you can do it. Never once writing an email for your client. Never once getting into the CRM and running a report. Because like those are important things to have happen in the marketing department, but that's not the role of the CMO. That's the role of someone who reports to the CMO. So you would review those reports that were generated, but you're not like generating them. You're not like going in and cleaning up data on your own. You're not, doing those kind of like tactical things that we hire other people for. You're the CMO. So this podcast, what's it all about? It's about getting your head in gear so that you can rise to the top and be the chief marketing officer and serve multiple companies. Like that's what I want you to do. That's my dream for you. As I look into the future, and I'm betting my own like farm on this, is like my kids need me to bring in income. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do that by being a fractional CMO. Since I wrote my book, Find Your CMO, I got back in the game. I've picked up a handful of clients. I've got a couple great clients right now. And I get to see what's working right now and the problems that they're facing. And I get to learn about what's happening. I'm not just a guy who's like, some professor who's like sitting here telling you, stories that I've heard from other people. No. I'm in the game. And I'm playing all out right now with you. I went from 0 clients to now I've got 3 clients as of today. I'm building out my practice with great fit clients that I adore working with. And at this point, I don't have an assistant. I don't have anyone else helping me. And I'm still able to deliver a great work product to these people. I want to teach you what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what's working, so that you can go attract, convert, and serve high-paying clients on your terms. So I've got some notes here, like so many things I want us to talk about, but I'll save it for further episodes. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me what you want me to talk about. I want you to ask me questions. So if you go to cmox.com/podcast, there will be a link to a form. I'll probably put it in the Facebook group. We've got a great Facebook group. It's called the Fractional CMO Community. You can find that at cmox.com/community. Join the community. Go to the form at cmox.com/podcast and ask me questions. Say, Casey, I would love it if you'd cover multi-point attribution. I want to talk about the implications of yada, yada. What do you think about a no cookie future with Chrome? Like, give me some nerdy stuff that would be helpful for you to learn so I can pull together some episodes for you, so I can help you out. All right. This podcast is like me, like getting to show off a passion of mine. I have a vision of bringing folks in. So I'm wanting to bring people in to share their expertise. One of my personal core values is curiosity. So I want to invite smart people on and I want to ask them smart questions so that I can learn, because I have fun doing that stuff. So tell me the kind of stuff you want to hear, that you want to learn about, so I can bring those people in. I want to bring like nerds together to share like the nerdy stuff, because that's what's really, the nerds are the ones that are like kind of ruling the future, because it's like such a technical future. So let's talk about that stuff. But subscribe to the podcast, cmox.com/podcast. Subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, Stitcher, whatever it is. Does anyone still use Stitcher? Subscribe. It's helpful. It shows me that you guys are like interested, so I can keep creating content. And then secondly, ask me questions so I can fill them out. And then finally, third thing, 3 calls to action. I know, a little passé, but join the community, because the Fractional CMO community at cmox.com/community, our free Facebook group, is a great place for you to be with other CMOs and just like ask questions. I try to answer all the questions that come in, most of them at least. I go live. I do some individual coaching with folks. I just did a hot seat recently and had 2 great folks on. I mean, it was supposed to be a half hour. I think we were on for an hour and 45 minutes. I just brought them on and I rapid fire, help them kind of overcome limiting beliefs and figure out what to do and like what their next step was to win their first client. So that's where you are. Join, attend those live streams as they come up. I'd love to see you there and get to know you. And then finally, if you want to ever get my direct help, we've got the CMOx Accelerator. We've got so many great members. We've got some former CMOs and VP of marketing from major companies that you'd know the names of. And then we've got ragtag marketers who've just been in it, who know how to do it, who are gritty and figure it out. And they've like never had the title, but they certainly have the chops. And we have everyone in between. So if you're a full-time employee thinking about leaving or worried about maybe getting laid off, I talked to a woman today. She joined the Accelerator a week ago because she is confident that she's going to get laid off. She's seeing the trends in her industry. So she jumped in the Accelerator. I mean, makes sense to me. She's building a pipeline, trying to build new business as quickly as possible, because inevitably, if she gets cut, she wants to land on her feet. But there's other people who are just like sick of working with clients that don't really appreciate them. And you want to cycle those clients out and get better clients. We can help you with that. I'll tell you though, that it might be a you problem, right? You might be the reason that you're getting bad clients. Let us help you identify those blocks that you have or the way that you represent yourself so that you don't attract these tire kickers, low paying, crabby clients that don't do what you say. I want you to get high paying, affluent, fun, do what you say clients, pay on time clients. That's what I want you to have. But oftentimes it's not because you haven't talked to them. It's because you haven't kind of positioned yourself in a certain way. So that's what we do inside the Accelerator. And it's been my passion for the last, 4 years to build out the CMOx Accelerator. It's better than ever. We've had some great hires in the company to really support members. It's been awesome. Happy to talk to you more about that. You can book a call with my team. No pressure. Super easy. cmox.com/call. cmox.com/call. Booking that call. And, you can connect with my team and have a conversation to see if we can help you. All right. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to the show. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode. All right. Take care. Thank you for sticking around for the full episode. As you know, learners are earners, but you've got to take action on what you heard today. For more information and show notes, visit fractionalcmoshow.com. If you'd like me to answer your questions on an upcoming episode, you can share your question at fractionalcmoshow.com. And last, please hit the like and subscribe button so that I know that this content is helpful to you. All right, go get them.